Here are 100 things you probably didn't know about Demon Slayer. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video so we can make more videos like this in the future. Let's begin. Tanjiro placed first in the popularity poll that had 6,742 votes, and fourth in a second and bigger poll that had 9,045 votes. Gyu's crow is a very old crow, so it tends to make mistakes when giving messages and moves slowly during battles. Muzan was both born and became a demon in the Heian period during the early 900s. Gyume is the biggest Hashira, standing at 7'2", weighing 287 pounds. The bag in which Yoriichi carried his brother's flute may have been made of the cloth of his late wife's kimono, as the cloth patterns between the bag and kimono are quite similar. When Tanjiro lies, he can't keep a straight face due to his honest nature. According to Tengen Uzui, Gyume was one of the two people who became a Hashira only 2 months after picking up a sword, the other being Muichiro Tokido. Nosuke doesn't care to remember other people's names and usually gets it right every 7 attempts. Kokushibo has been challenged 3 times for his position. One of these battles involved Akaza. While Kokushibo would usually absorb the demon he defeated, he let Akaza live because he enjoyed the challenge. Obanai is not very strong in terms of physical strength, as he's listed as a little weak by Koyoharu Gotoge when asked about arm wrestling strength between the Hashira. The word for Hashira has 9 strokes, which is said to be the reason for there being 9 Hashira at the start of the series. Zenitsu placed second in a popularity poll that had 4,299 votes, and first in a second and bigger poll that had 17,451 votes. Whenever Nezuko visited Kanao and Aoi once a month, Inosuke would be with her. Zenitsu hated Inosuke in those moments for it. Kyojuro loved to watch sumo wrestling. Inosuke used boars, bears, and wolves as references when creating the beast breathing. Gyume loves cats, a trait he has in common with the love Hashira Mitsuri Kanroji. Zenitsu is the only non-Hashira demon slayer to have done feats specifically only Hashira have done, which is to create a new and original form and defeat an upper-rank demon by himself. Tanjiro inherited his hard forehead from his mother. Gyume is the only known Hashira who doesn't use a Nichiren sword, instead favoring a set of chained axes. Inosuke's crow mostly stays hidden. This is because Inosuke almost ate his crow on 18 different occasions. Due to his upbringing, Obanai developed fear and hatred towards women. This only worsened after he saw the weak resolves of the female demon slayers. Mitsuri was implied to be the first and only woman he found to be beautiful. Tengen's family practices polygamy, so when someone turns 15, they must have 3 wives. The clan head is the one who chooses the wives, but they always try to take chemistry into consideration when picking. Sanemi's blood can intoxicate demons and disrupt their senses and movement speed. Kyojiro's very distant ancestor, as stated by Kyojiro, ate a lot of tempuras, causing their descendants and their own hair to become quite abnormal. It's been revealed that Kyojiro does have a real-life model, and that most of the characters are modeled after people in real life. They're typically normal people who the author happens to know. The Ubuyashiki family are descendants of Muzan's original blood relatives, who, due to the family having birthed the original demon, were cursed with an unknown, incurable, and untreatable recessive genetic disease that has killed each and every family member, both past and present, before they could reach the age of 30. Gyu is one of 2 characters who have their own spin-off, the other being Kyojiro Rengoku. Gyu's spin-off is a 2-part story depicting the events after Gyu's encounter with Tanjiro and Nezuko, called Gyu Tomoyoka's story. Kocho Shinobu is the smallest Hashira, standing at 4'11" and weighing 82 pounds. Mitsuri ranked 12th place in both the first and second character popularity poll, with 280 votes and 3,714 votes respectively. Zenitsu has an overbite. Kokushibo is presumably the first demon slayer to become a demon. Namu Amida Butsu, also known as Nembutsu, is a Nyanfo chant from Shin Buddhism. A common translation is, "I entrust myself to the Buddha of infinite light and life." Gyume is often depicted with tears streaming down his face. It's later revealed in an extra chapter that he cries extremely easily at almost anything, even crying for something as minor as when the garbage is messy. He was taught by a fellow monk. Mitsuri enjoys eating Western and Western-inspired food, such as pancakes and omurice. Because of how Mitsuri eats, her food expenses are ridiculously high. Tanjiro has been incorrectly dubbed as Gonpachiro Kamaboko, Gengoro Shakariki, Tantaro Itadaki, Kanjiro Anago, Tangaro Hamado, Jangaro Amado, Tangaro Hamado, Manjiro Kentaro, Sentaro, and Soshiro by Inosuke. Shinobu has a pet goldfish named Fugu. Although Obanai doesn't like to eat much, seeing it as too much trouble, seeing Mitsuri happily eat her food made him work up his appetite and eat more than usual. The Rengoku family had a tradition of the woman staring into fire during the pregnancy. This is how they got their hair color. Both of Inosuke's voice actors, Yoshisugu Matsuoka and Bryce Papenbrook, also share the role of Kirito from Sword Art Online. All of the Hashira have Destroyer of Demons engraved on their weapons. Later, upon his defeat and death, it's revealed that the Ubuyashiki curse was successfully removed from the clan, as Kaguya's son, Kiriya Ubuyashiki, had successfully lived a full life, even surviving to become the oldest living person in Japan by the time of the modern era. Tanjiro is one of the few characters to have their Nichiren sword change appearance. Of the 9 Hashira, only 4 of them use a standard Nichiren katana, those 4 being Kyojuro Rengoku, Gyu Tomioka, Sanemi Shinazugawa, and Muichiro Tokido. Apparently, Tanjiro is able to understand what birds are saying. Kyojuro was never allowed to have a pet because his father hated animals. The relationship between Yoriichi and Michikatsu parallels the mythology of the Shinto deities Amaterasu and Tsukiyomi, respectively. Amaterasu is the most sacred of Shinto deities, the sun goddess. Tsukuyomi, the moon god, is her former husband and brother. After Tsukuyomi killed Ogetsuhime, or Ukimochi, the Shinto deity for food, Amaterasu refused to ever look upon him again, moving to another part of the sky and beginning the cycle of day and night. Just like the deities, the siblings also feud and have chosen different paths, that of the Demon Slayer and the demon, developing their respective breathings of the sun and moon. Sanemi is the most feared Hashira among the Demon Slayer corps. Mitsuri and Shinobu get along quite well due to them having been the only 2 female Hashira after Kanai's death. Mitsuri also teaches Shinobu Western cooking. Although not fully touched upon, it's hinted that a Hashira can retire whenever they want. Tanjiro was dubbed as the most polite man in Kimetsu Academy. Many of his peers are unable to keep up with Kyojuro since he's too fast. Yoriichi's first words to his family were, "I can hear you," as they believed he was deaf up until that point. Tengen and Inosuke Hashibira are the only known demon slayers who use 2 Nichiren swords instead of 1. Zenitsu is a city boy, so he's definitely ridden trains before. That was why going out and training with his master in the mountains was 10 times harder for him than it was for Tanjiro and Inosuke. According to Gyu Tomioka, Shinobu can't stand any kinds of furry creatures. In the magazine version, the amount of wisteria poison in Shinobu's body was originally stated to be 70 times the lethal amount to kill a demon. However, it was later corrected by Koyoharu Gotoge to be 700 times in the volume edition. Inosuke's stomach clock is extremely precise, to the point that it isn't even a second off. Muzan was ranked in 11th place in the first character popularity poll for the series, with 285 votes. After becoming a demon, Muzan settled down with 5 different women throughout the Heian period. However, because of his lack of empathy and sensitivity as a demon, he verbally abused all 5 of his wives to the point that it drove all of them to suicide. Mitsuri's mentor was Kyojuro. She derived her love breathing from his flame breathing. As the Hashira are a separate group of elite slayers, they have their own symbol on the back of their hand. These symbols correlate to what breathing style they're associated with. Tanjiro is tone deaf, along with Inosuke. Shinobu's blade was designed and created by the chief of the swordsmith village, Techen Kawahara. After Kotoha stumbled into his temple, Joma grew fond of her beauty and singing. He initially never intended to eat her, as he enjoyed her company. Sanemi always keeps his uniform open, as he's proud of his muscles. It's possible that part of the reason why Muzan pretended to like Daki was that she was beautiful and a major source of income. Shinobu looks calm and happy, but she's a very angry person. Gyu's favorite food is simmered salmon with daikon. Seeing a fresh plate even made Gyu smile once. Before becoming a demon, Akaza's favorite and most proficient move was the Bell Splitter, although it's uncertain whether this is still the case after his transformation. Sanemi owns a Japanese rhinoceros beetle. Tengen is one of the only known demon slayers and Hashira to retire due to being permanently disabled instead of by age or death, the other being Jogoro Kuwajima. Zenitsu's debt is estimated to be around 600,000 yen in modern currency. Zenitsu's massive amount of debt likely came from his 7 ex-girlfriends. Despite all of them being beautiful, they treated Zenitsu like a slave, tricking him as well as robbing him of his money. Zenitsu never even got to hold their hands. Tanjiro is widely known as a tragic hero. This is caused by tragic events, likely his family and Kyojuro Rengoku. Mitsuri's striped socks were a gift from Obanai, as she was initially very embarrassed wearing her uniform. Muzan never really liked Doma, despite his loyalty and worship of him. Doma also made Muzan the figure of worship within his Paradise Faith cult. Akaza was the only demon of the 12 Kizuki who refused to eat or kill women, and was given special permission to do so. Despite being described as the second weakest member in the Hashira in terms of strength, Obanai is the only Hashira who is able to contend with Muzan before awakening his Demon Slayer mark. Although he's normally quiet and calm in nature, he chatted frequently after getting along with the Hashira of the Sengoku era. Despite their initial anger for his brother's transformation, some of the Hashira would continue to speak with Yoriichi after his banishment, due to their close friendship. Muzan Kibutsuji saw Daki as not a very smart child. Shinobu's overall level of openness was ranked 85%. Mitsuri's weapon resembles and may be based off of a South Indian weapon known as the Urumi due to its flexible, whip-like form. Tanjiro is the second best at waking up in the morning out of the Kimetsu no Yaiba cast, with Kyojuro being the first. Tanjiro will either wake up at the time he intended, or he'll wake up quickly if someone says something to him. Rengoku does not have a successor because of how hard his training is and because they all end up running away. Sakonji doesn't drink alcohol and has a very low alcohol tolerance. In the Volume 23 extras, it's strongly implied that Yoriichi and his wife Uda reincarnated into modern times and became a very happy couple with kids. Tanjiro tends to have a lot of dreams about battles and training. In his dreams, he's constantly ruminating about what didn't go well, and he analyzes about how to do it better next time. He sees a lot of ways to work with situations you can expect in battle. His dreams feel pretty clear and realistic. Mitsuri owns a rabbit. Gyu's Japanese and English voice actors both share the role of Sasori from Naruto Shippuden. Tanjiro's keen sense of smell made the people of the village sometimes ask him to help with finding missing people. The Hashira with the biggest appetite is Mitsuri Kanroji. Mitsuri's hair color is said to be the way it is because of her eating too much sakura mochi. This is in fact possible in real life due to the pigmentation from excessive food consumption. Gyu's overall level of openness was ranked 30%. Tanjiro's favorite food is Angelica sprouts. When they're on the table, even if he keeps himself composed, you can notice his nostrils flaring. Shinobu's parents worked in compounding medicine, which is why Shinobu is also very talented with medicine. Inosuke appears to enjoy eating tempura, as shown when he rests at the Wisteria Mansion and when he uses it as motivation during training. Obanai has the smallest appetite out of all the Hashira. He can go about 3 days without eating. Thanks for watching. We hope you liked the video. If you do, please share your appreciation by liking, commenting, and subscribing.